Heyo YouTube, Flowcat here. As many of you are probably aware, we are getting the new card game for the next update here in about a day or so with Genshin Impact. Well, yesterday, Hoyoverse released a lot of information about the Genius Invocation TCG, and I'm gonna go through that stuff real quick for a video so that we can all learn together what we should be expecting from this card game. I've been waiting for something like this, for them to post something like this for quite a while, because they've been kind of lip sealed on all the details for this card game. Like, we really, up until yesterday, had very little idea how the progression system would work or how the combat in the card game itself would work. We had a little bit of an idea based on like videos and brief explanations, but this is what I was looking for. Let's get right into it. All right, this is the first article that they shared. They actually shared two, one about the basic rules and one about the advanced rules. So basically right here it just says, in version 3.3, we will introduce the new gameplay mode, Genius Invocation TCG. This is an explanatory article, and yep, here we are. This says Genius Invocation TCG is a tightly paced, heart-stopping tabletop card dueling game. Traveler can visit the Cat's Tail and unlock this gameplay mode by approaching Prince. So it actually looks like we'll be able to go inside the Cat's Tail and talk to Prince, which is cool. The unlock criteria is reach adventure rank 32 or above, and you have to complete the Mondstadt storyline, I think. I think that's like one of the last quests in the storyline. I don't really know. And then right below that, it says complete the specified quests or card duels to increase your player level and get Primo Gems and other rewards related to TCG. We will talk about this part later. This is like, you know, the reward system and stuff like that. So we will get some more information about that later. The main objective. Genius Invocation is a game where you face your opponent with a deck of cards. A deck is made up of character cards and action cards. Use your character cards to attack and defeat your opponent's character cards. Once you have defeated them all, victory shall be yours. Game areas. Before we get into the process of a duel, let's familiarize ourselves with the game areas. So they have numbers right here to indicate the various zones that they're about to talk about. The character zone. After the game begins, all character cards will be placed in the character zone. Each player will have to select an active character to be on field. Only the active character can use skills. It seems like you have your characters right here, and I think for that reason, you are limited to a number of character cards. It kind of looks like 3 or 4 is where we'll be capped out, similar to like team compositions in Genshin. The second zone is the elemental dice. Various types of actions require elemental dice as payment. So we learned previously that at the start of every turn, you roll some elemental dice and you use those elemental dice to determine what actions you can take. It's kind of like your action points for your turn, but they have to correspond to the specific element of the whatever you're trying to do. Next, they have the character skill zone, displays skills that the active character can use. Now this is really cool because it's extremely similar to what we see when we play Genshin normally. You have your basic attack, you have your skill, and you have your burst. And it seems like every character has those, as we learned prior. And it seems to show what you need for dice to activate those. I think the 3 there is how many elemental dice you need to activate that specific skill. Although I don't know what this 2 is next to the 3. So I'm not entirely sure what that is. That might be some kind of energy system for bursting because it's only on the burst. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Number 4 is the summon zone. Some characters can create summons in the summon zone to assist the player. The summon zone can hold up to 4 summons. So that's off to the right-hand side of the character zone. You can see what kind of summons are active. Support zone. Support cards are placed in the support zone after they are played. The support zone can hold up to 4 support cards. So the support cards go right next to the character cards, and I'm guessing that they just augment your team's abilities in some way, or possibly cause debuffs for the enemy team. I'm not sure, we'll have to find out. Draw pile. Before the game starts, all action cards in a deck will be shuffled and will form the draw pile. When drawing cards, the character will draw action cards from the draw pile and add them to their hand. If the draw pile has no card left, then no new card will be added to the hand. All right, so that's basically just proving to me that these character cards are the only character cards that you have in play at that time, and these cards off to the side are not character cards. They are all action cards. 7, hand. In a duel, you can draw cards from the draw pile and add them to your hand. You can have a maximum of 10 cards in your hand. Playing cards have different effects, so the correct combination of cards can achieve the best possible effect. So that's just right below the character cards. That's just whatever cards you have drawn from your draw pile. So those are all action cards. Again, it seems like our only character cards are the ones we have in play at that time. It doesn't seem like you can have like backup character cards, which is interesting. I kind of like that. Duel Flow. Genius Invocation is a turn-based card game. Each duel consists of 3 phases: preparation, rounds, victory evaluation. Each round will proceed as follows: roll phase, action phase, end phase. So it's pretty simple. You basically you start the game, you prepare your stuff, you have the rounds, which are just rolling, doing your actions and ending, and then the victory evaluation, which basically comes, I guess, at the end when all the character cards are defeated, kind of giving you a scoring or something like that. So preparation. Before a duel starts, both sides will draw 5 cards from the draw pile, which will form their hand. So you start with 5. After that, both sides will get 1 chance to switch out any number of cards in their hand. You start with 5, but you can pick one maybe to switch out, which I think puts it back in the draw pile. Once the character has decided on the starting hand, a character card must be selected as your active character. Okay, you start out by preparing your cards, and then you pick an active character, and then you roll. Players will roll 8 elemental dice at the start of each round to use for that round. After throwing these dice, you'll have 1 chance to choose any number of elemental dice and re-roll them. Once the roll phase is over, you will enter the action phase. So it seems like you can roll, and then you can pick as many dice as you want to re-roll, which is a little bit interesting. Kind of like if you don't like your first roll, you can keep the ones you want and re-roll the ones you don't like. That's an interesting mechanic. Seems a little bit forgiving for a dice mechanic, but that's okay. Action phase. During the action phase, a player will go first and both sides will take turns to make their moves. In matchmaking and co-op, the player who goes first is randomized. In other modes, you will always go first. So PvP, it's random. When you're doing matches against NPCs, you will always go first. Possible actions include use your skill, pay the relevant cost and use your active character's skill, pay 1 elemental dice to switch your active character. You can pay the relevant cost and play cards from your hand. So these cards down here seem to have a relevant cost and you can just use those. It seems like you can select which cards you want to use to activate. So Paimon takes 3 and they picked 3 Electro die. So if you don't even have Electro characters, you can kind of use those for your action cards, it seems. Like they're not really elemental specific, which is interesting. That's actually really interesting. Elemental tuning. Discard a card from your hand and change the elemental type of 1 of your elemental die. This doesn't really seem worth it. I don't know why you would really do this. If you had a card in your hand, I would assume you would have it so that you could, you know, use it. But maybe in a pinch, this is a useful tactic to, like, if you're just 1 die away from being able to do the thing that you need to do to end the round or to end the game completely. Like if it's a difference between losing and victory, then hey, I guess declare end round. End your actions for this round. The first player to declare the end of their round will go first during the next round. Once both players have declared the end of the round, the action phase will end and this round's end phase will begin. Now that's really interesting because this shows that time is important. When you are playing your cards and doing your things, it's important to be as fast as you possibly can. That's really interesting. So you're both acting at the same time is kind of what it seems. Remaining elemental dice from the current round are not carried over to the next round, so you re-roll every single round. End phase. In the end phase, starting with the player who acted first, various card effects will be triggered in order on the field. Both players will then draw 2 cards from their draw piles and the next round begins. So you get 2 cards to draw per round up to a maximum of 10, starting with 5. And it seems like the actions of the cards don't actually take place until both players have ended their round or ended their action round, and whoever finished first goes first. That's really cool. It keeps the pace of it moving, which is always really good. And now we're going to the system rules, and we're going to discuss like various elements outside the card game, like the progression system. Increase your player level to obtain primo gems and other rewards related to Genius Invocation TCG. Earn player EXP by completing various duels to increase your player level and get corresponding levels. So it seems like essentially you level up to get name cards, currency, primo gems, cards, whatever this blue thing is, whatever this pink thing is. Like you just get some stuffs, okay? You can earn EXP and increase your level through the following challenges. Open world matches. Genius Invocation is a popular card game with players coming from all corners of the world. Once you've completed the beginner tutorial quest at Cat's Tail with Prince, you will receive a casket of tomes which can be used to mark players who can be challenged on the map. Now the gadget, I don't know really what that's for. I think maybe that just highlights people that on the map that can be challenged. The challenges are divided in 2 levels of difficulty: adventure challenges, which are easier, and duels, which are harder. Winning adventure challenges grants you EXP, and some opponents will gift you cards if you complete their challenge objectives. One thing I noticed immediately is like this is Mondstadt, and you can see right here on the bridge, it kind of looks like Timmy is a challenger and he has like a specific challenge duel, I bet we get pigeon cards from him. That's why my thumbnail is what it is, because Timmy is basically confirmed a dueler, which is hilarious. I can't wait to beat up Timmy. Okay, so then there's weekly guest challenges. Each week, a maximum of 4 guests will visit the Cat's Tail, defeat them in duels to earn player EXP. Guests who have already arrived this week will leave on the second week. So it just shows that you have like Gene, but then you also have some NPCs. Also, I just noticed my mic peaked at some point during this recording. My gain is too high. I'm sorry. My gain keeps resetting and I need to turn it down like 1 notch. Anyway, sorry about that if there's a little bit of peaking early on. My bad. So travelers can go to Prince and check their current player level. As you level up, you'll be able to unlock more features and game modes. You will receive ascension challenges once you reach a certain player level and have the required EXP to level up. You can only further raise your level cap by successfully completing ascension challenges. Complete challenges to collect character cards. Now this is big because I thought that the character cards were going to be earned through some RNG method, but it seems that you can earn them through pretty simple methods, like character invitations. Travelers can use the invitation board to send invitations to registered challengers on the player list and partake in duel matches. These matches can be divided into 2 levels of difficulty: friendly fracas, which is easier, and serious showdown, which is harder. Should you prevail in friendly fracas and complete the challenge objectives, you can also earn corresponding character and talent cards. And it seems like you get these invitations right here. Those things that we saw earlier, those little cards, I guess you use those to invite the characters to challenge. So you can't challenge everybody all at once. You have to earn a currency to invite them to challenge them. When you invite a character to duel for the first time, you must use a match invitation letter. You get these letters by increasing your player level, completing quests, and purchasing them from the card shop. Okay, tavern challenges. Once your player level reaches a specific level, you can go to seek out Prince to partake in greater tests of mastery via adventure challenges. The matches are divided into 2 levels of difficulty, again, which is the same thing. Should you prevail in the easy one and complete challenge objectives, you can earn character and talent cards. So you have tavern challenges, you have character invitation, and that's how you earn, it seems, the majority, or if not all, of the card. Don't forget to check your TCG player manual. So after completing the beginner tutorial quest, you unlock a player manual. Complete this to earn Primo Gems, Lucky Coins, and Action Cards. So you can earn Action Cards, Lucky Coins, and Primo Gems from doing this manual. It's just another manual like we normally have where we get some rewards for it. And then we have the card shop. Purchase cards, card backs, and dynamic skins amongst items from the card shop at the Cat's Tail. You must reach a certain player level to purchase dynamic skin. In order to buy items related to Genius Invocation TCG, you use the special currency Lucky Coin. Complete in open world matches, weekly guest challenges, and quests in the TCG player manual to earn Lucky Coins. Now, what I like about this is that it seems that it's infinitely farmable because we can do it with the weekly guest challenges. There will be a weekly limit to the number of coins you can earn, but once you complete everything and you've milked every resource, you will still be able to come back for these weekly guest challenges, which means eventually we will be able to buy out the shop if you would like to do that. And one thing I did want to point out, which they didn't seem to show here, let me scroll down a little bit. Yeah, they talk about co-op. In the card shop, they showed 3 sections, one of which looked like skins, one looked like action cards, and then they had a second or like a third tab, and it was like support store or something like that. They never showed us what is in that tab, but I have a feeling that it's going to be very similar to what we have with the teapot, where you can buy maybe some resin, some upgrade materials, stuff like that, Mora, whatever it is. So it does seem like doing TCG will give us continuous rewards even after we've completed everything. At the very least, it'll be skins, but I have a feeling that we will be earning some other rewards as well through that support store tab that they never really showed us. We will have to see what that's like tomorrow. Co-op mode, let's play together with friends. Traveler can use the invitation board and connect with your friends via co-op to engage in matchmaking. When you reach player level 4, you can also use matchmaking mode to challenge faraway strangers to duels of skill. In co-op mode or matchmaking, there is a time limit for performing actions. When time runs out, the end of the phase or round will be automatically declared. So you can actually AFK through a round on accident. That's good because that means in co-op, because this is a fast-paced card game, there won't be anyone trolling by just doing nothing forever, right? Like, I think that's really great. That's one thing I was concerned about with matchmaking is like, what if someone just sits on their turn forever for like 30 minutes, you know? Like their mama calls for them and they gotta go do they gotta take the trash out, right? Like, it seems like at that point you could just trounce them because they're going to be AFK and you can just beat them up while they're AFK. Lovely. And that's the end of the article. We love that. There's no RNG for card collection. It's great. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the second article, and here we are. So these are the advanced rules. Deck composition, deck usage, how to use the stuff, combat actions, fast actions, elemental reactions. So there's a lot of content in this one as well. Deck composition. Travelers can open the deck using the casket of tomes and edit a deck. A deck needs to have 3 valid character cards and 30 valid action cards to be set as an active deck. Okay, so actually this just proves to me that you can only have 3 active characters, not 4. So it's a bit easier on the team building, I guess, or a little more restrictive on the team building than normal. Deck usage, how to use character cards. The character's HP will appear at the top left, so that's what we see up there. HP will decrease when the character takes damage and will go down if their HP reaches 0. Each character card has corresponding skills: normal attack, elemental skill, and burst. You must expend a certain number of elemental dice to use the skills of a character card selected as the active character in battle. The character's energy is displayed on the right side of the card, so that's what we were seeing earlier when we were looking at the burst value. It has that extra value right there. It's this energy right here. Okay, each time you unleash a normal attack or an elemental skill, you will gain 1 energy. When the character's energy maxes out, you can use the elemental dice to allow the character to unleash a powerful elemental burst. That's fun. That's a really cool tactical approach there. Each character card can have equipment cards, statuses, and combat statuses attached to it. Equipment cards. Each character can attach at most 1 weapon and 1 artifact equipment card and any number of other types of equipment. That's really interesting. I actually didn't realize that we can equip our people during battle with stuff. That's awesome. Statuses. Some character skills can create statuses that can be attached to character cards. That's also really interesting. Combat statuses. Some character skills can create combat statuses that can be attached to active characters. When the active character is switched out, the combat status will be passed over to the new active character. So like if you have Kaya's burst, his burst will carry over to the next character, which is just really cool. How to use action cards. There are 3 types of action cards, each with different effects. Equipment cards. These are equipped on characters to apply effects that buffs this character. Wolf's Gravestone, for example, deals +1 damage, deals +2 additional damage if the target's remaining HP is equal or less than 6. Only Claymore characters can equip this. A character can equip a maximum of 1 weapon. Weapon types still apply, and it's kind of funny because this does a similar effect as the normal Wolf's Gravestone, which is really cool. Event card. Play these to immediately trigger all their effects. Event cards seem kind of interesting. It's like an action card that immediately takes effect. You can use it during your turn. So like Kokomi's Strategize card here will allow you to draw 2 cards. And then support cards. Play these in your support zone to continuously apply supporting effects. Jade Chamber, for instance. Roll phase, 2 of the starting elemental dice you roll are always guaranteed to match the elemental type of your active character. Wow, that sounds like a good card to have. During a match, 30 action cards in the deck will form a draw pile. When the game starts, each player will draw cards from their draw pile to form their hand each round. One thing I'm thinking about, which is kind of interesting, you could have the Wolf's Gravestone, but it could be like the last card in your deck. Imagine not pulling that. Like imagine you have your D-Luke and you just never pull your Wolf's Gravestone. That would be insane. To use the cards in your hand, you must use the corresponding elemental dice. There are generally 2 circumstances. Matching element. When you play action cards that consume blank cost, you must pay the directed amount of matching elemental dice. Omni dice will count as any dice. Unaligned element. When you play action cards that consume dark cost, so there's like light cost, dark cost, you must pay the directed amount of elemental dice regardless of their type. So there are certain cards that do need specific elemental types, and then there are certain kinds that just don't. Like Paimon doesn't need a specific elemental type. Okay, when you do not have elemental dice corresponding to the desired element, you can consider the following possibilities. Play cards with the effect that allow you to re-roll or change the elemental dice, or discard cards that you don't need to perform elemental tuning. This will change the elemental type of your elemental dice. Each card discarded will allow you to change the elemental type of 1 die to that of your active character. Okay, if you absolutely have to, you can just throw away a card to get a tuning thing, which is interesting. It sounds like a last case scenario kind of situation, but okay. Combat action and fast action. Fast actions, you can continue your turn after completing a fast action. Playing a card and elemental tuning are considered fast action. Combat actions. After you complete 1 combat action, you will pass your turn to your opponent. Using skills, switching characters, and declaring round end count as combat actions. Oh, okay. Interesting. Some action cards follow the combat action rule. If you play such a card, that action will be viewed as conducting a combat action. So you just have to be careful about combat actions because they can end your turn. Use the rules above to optimize the use of elemental dice, use the right card combinations, and then use the right skills to make character cards' attacks even more powerful. You have elemental reactions. During a match, when a character takes cryo, hydro, pyro, electro, or dendro damage, they will be affected by the corresponding element. Anemo damage and geo damage do not apply their corresponding element. Additionally, certain environments and conditions will also apply elements to characters, so you can have leyline disorders. Elemental reaction rules. When the target has already had an elemental application, dealing a specific type of elemental damage will trigger a reaction. It's very similar to what it seems like we have in-game. They've got hydro on them, you use D-loop, you vape. Using a non-damage effects to perform specific elemental applications will also trigger an elemental reaction. When calculating the effects such as elemental reactions, all damage dealing effects will be ignored. Use elemental reactions strategically to further increase the damage dealt by your character cards. All right, so it seems like we pretty much have all of the information that we need to hit the ground running day one with TCG. Tips from me right now would be just to make sure you do your weekly challenges. That seems like pretty much the only time-gated thing is having the weekly guest challenges. So that's another weekly thing that we're gonna wanna take care of. When we get into game and you get access to the store, make sure to check out the support tab to see what's in there, because they still haven't shown that tab. And it could be resin, it could be like Mora, you know, EXP books, it could be a number of things. So we got to look forward to that. Looks like we get a number of Primo Gems. Who knows how many Primo Gems we will get in total from TCG, but that will also be a valuable way for people to farm up some Primo Gems for their account, especially early on when they're just getting started. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video. I just wanted to go through all the rules with all of you and have a little bit of a conversation about TCG. It seems pretty intricate in a really cool way. It seems like a fast-paced card game, which interests me more. I'm not too big on like having the 10-minute turns. You know, you're sitting there like masterminding this crazy turn for 10 minutes. I like that it's fast-paced. The speed at which you make your decisions actually affects the game and how well you do. Like, that's really cool. That's just like another factor alongside your cards that could help you win a match that maybe you're a little under-leveled for. By being smarter, maybe a little more fast thinking than your opponent, you can probably prevail in times where you would normally lose. I think that's cool. All right, end of the video. That's it. Hope you all enjoyed. If you like, drop a like. I didn't expect this card game to have so many factors, so many like interesting mechanics in it. And I'm really looking forward to getting into the game and checking those out. But let me know in the comments what you guys think of the card game, whether you're interested in it and whether you're going to be a regular TCG player. If you like the content, if you like Genshin Impact, make sure to hit sub. I would love that. I am trying to push my way to 2,000 subscribers, so we are working our way there. And if you want to help me do that, I would appreciate it very much. I would like to hit 2K subs by the end of the year. But if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's okay. I have a Discord. Link is pinned in the description down below. We have a friendly community there if you would like to join. And I recently started doing Let's Play content. So as well as posting Genshin content and doing Genshin live streams, I will be playing a variety of games, first of which is Cyberpunk 2077. So if you want to check out my Cyberpunk Let's Play series, it's also on my channel. You can check that out. Until next time, stay healthy, stay hydrated. Peace.